What is good, my people? We are back with another live episode. Coming to holla at y'all, talk to y'all for a little bit. Yeah, I could definitely call in the number right there on the screen, 804. What's going on? Time to work. The number right there on the screen, 804-601-4015. I definitely want to hear what y'all got to say. Now, I'm pretty sure y'all seen the cop got convicted or whatever, and now people are out there celebrating in the streets, dancing and having a good time, because this cop got convicted of manslaughter. Well, the first thing I'm gonna say is, nobody should be happy until he served the very last day of the longest sentence he could possibly get, even if that means he got to die in prison, right? That's when we celebrate, right? When he served his complete sentence, because we seen the what's going on, that, right? Because every time this happens, right, then it kind of goes out of the news and we forget what happened, and there's no telling where these cops end up going, because believe me, they are going to be protected. They're not going to just put them in prison in general population for something to happen to them, especially when they are all over the news. So before we start getting hype and all of that, you know, we better make sure that it's just more than just one, because the thing is, I'm sure y'all know I've been gone for a little while, but I just coming back for the last few weeks, I found so many new names that you could fill up a page already, and celebrating one, because believe me, your enemy is always going to make an example out of you for one incident, just so it doesn't happen again. Now, hundreds of years, we're satisfied with just one, but that shows you the level of abuse that we have faced here, that we have seen. And if y'all want to call in and talk about the conviction or whatever, you can call in and talk about that. And I'm pretty sure y'all seen. Now, no soon as they came down with the conviction, right, of manslaughter, two more people have been a young teenage girl and another brother just got shot. Right, the police said they were serving some kind of warrant, and he got in his car and they just opened fire. But that's all they're kind of saying right now. Now, this could be looked at as, they're sending you a message, right? No soon, the same day we're celebrating this one conviction, and there's already two more people that's gone. But that shows you the level of dedication that your enemy has. But you have to have that kind of level of dedication times 100 for you to get out of the situation that you are in. Right. And if y'all want to call in, and y'all can talk about that too. Right. Because it's different things going on with all of these cases, and you get to the details or whatever. But your enemy, when you start putting that pressure, everybody put that pressure on certain cases. But to save face, they'll throw you a bone or two. But believe me, the hardcore supremacists, who they will protect, right? They're not okay with you getting anything. And you better believe that they are not playing. Right? When they talk about that quote unquote white boy summer, believe me, they have been waiting for a while, preparing, buying ammunition, buying bullets. And we're still out here with signs saying no justice, no peace. But the whole time it's been straight peace. But your enemy showed you when they lost their president that they looked up to, they'll storm the Capitol. They got no problem going up there armed, causing a riot. And what does the FBI do? They come looking for you. They come questioning you. They are supporting, you got cops and everything, right? All people in all walks of life. Now, you may think that you know somebody who you may think is cool, but in reality, you do not know them, right? Until you hear their opinion, because you may think, oh, they're so cool. We talk about this, you talk about that, but you bring up Trayvon Martin, then all of a sudden you realize, this person isn't who I thought they were. Because, you know, the system can only stay in place by them staying on code and by us being submissive. That's the only way that it could work. Now, again, y'all can call in, definitely call in. They ain't gonna be on here too long. The number is 804-601-4015. Now, this code, because we always talk about the code, but it's important that we start getting on it. And if you don't know what it is, you just study your enemy, right? You see somebody wilding out and they start in trouble with you, and then they call in the police, because what they're really trying to do is put out a hit on you, right? Especially if it's something so minor, because they feel like, oh yeah, you just a nigga. You're gonna be afraid if I call the police on you. And they know the police 9 times out of 10 is gonna take their side. Now, but we always gotta say, oh, well, not all cops are bad. Well, all cops uphold the system. I could tell you that. And it don't matter if they're black or white. But they know how, when one of them is wilding out, they'll just sit there and watch and let it happen. Right? You could see all of these videos with them calling you nigga all in the store, yelling at you, threatening you. But the minute that you respond, especially if you get the upper hand, which happens more times than not, but when you respond, then everybody steps in. Right? It could be a white woman stealing from you, and you holding her down until the police come, and they'll come to you like, oh, don't hurt him. But we see a cop kneeling on somebody's neck for 10 minutes, and we just standing over there like, come on, man, don't do that. Now, we definitely, because of course they're always going to bring up Martin Luther King. Now, Martin Luther King, if that doesn't show you, the brother said, don't hit them back. Let them hit you. Don't speak ill of them. We just want to be equal and play with your little kids. What's going on? What's going on? And y'all can call in the number right there on the screen. And of course, now they give Martin Luther King his holiday, right? And if they hear this, they will say, well, what will Martin Luther King say? Well, we don't know because y'all shot him in the face. And if he coming on talking about nonviolence, and that's all that they did to him was show him violence, what does that show you? What does that tell you? You're dealing with somebody that cannot be reasoned with. You can't participate in their systems. You got to have your own systems of punishment. You can't depend on somebody else to punish. You don't see America going to China to punish their criminals. But you don't look at it that way. You look at it like you're an American citizen, but they don't have no laws that say you're an American citizen. You barely have rights. And how do you know that? Well, hundreds of years of history shows you that. You can't show me a law that overturned the Dred Scott decision. You can't show me a law that says you are on 3/5 of a person. But you still think that you're a part of a system that was designed to destroy and exploit you. See, like when you look at white supremacy and people who talk about white supremacy, you only look at the supremacy part, but it can only be defined by black inferiority. It can only be in place if you don't have any self-protection. And they know they're still in control if you're trying to explain why you need to protect yourself instead of actually doing it. Because sometimes bullies only respect getting punched in the face, even if you got to punch them in the face every single day. But sometimes that's all they respect, and that's all that they know. Because, they don't see you as a human. How you going to convince somebody that you are? And why would you even want to? Why would you want to be in a society where you gotta debate it? That's disrespectful to these people. I wouldn't debate over, Sean Bell, Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. I wouldn't debate over any of their lives because that's disrespectful to them. And if you think that their blood being shed was okay, then we don't need to be in the same society. And how much more simpler could it be? And what more motivation do we need them broadcasting on TV, killing children, elderly, men, women, them having a systematic attack on our family, them systematically putting large numbers of men in prison to keep them from coming together as a warrior class, especially the people who could be a warrior class, for the same things that they make billions of dollars off. The exact same things. Now they got you portrayed as the murderer, the killer, the thug, the thief. But who is on stolen land, who actually kidnap people, right, with stolen property, making billions of dollars off the very thing that they say is illegal. Because when they make laws, they make them for you, not for them. The laws are what you can do, not what they can do. It's do as I say, not do as I do. Because that's the mindset of a white supremacist. We're trying to make logic out of it. They feel like they're superior and they're delusional. You can't argue or convince delusion. But the way that you know that they are full of it, because when the situation is reversed, they have no problems. There's no debates. We already know what the outcome is going to be. We know if a cop in the same state, Minnesota, go out and shoot a white woman, right? Because who knows what she was doing outside that late at night? Why would she be running up on a cop car, right? She probably started them. You know, if it was a thug or a robbery or whatever. But in that case, oh no, we knew the moment it happened what the outcome was going to be. Why is that? Because the system has been beaten into us. Why? So that they can maintain power. But why do they need you? Because without you, they are nothing. How do you know that? Because without you, what were they? But the minute that they came to kidnap you, they could build an empire. Now, we just don't see that. All right, I'll take the first call.
From Delay.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, Foka?
What's going
Delay,
on,
how are you?
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just listening to you, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And how you say your name again?
What's up?
How you say your name again?
Pelez. I spoke on your show last year, about a year ago.
Yeah, I remember you. So, I just didn't remember. Yeah, you comment a lot too. I remember you.
Yeah. How have you been, man?
Man, I'm good. I'm good, man. How you doing?
You know what, brother? I'm doing fine. You know, I'm doing fine. I have my health, but it's good to have you back, though, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all of y'all showing me so much support too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So last time when I talk, I'll just let you know, I'm very sarcastic, and I like to joke a lot, but at the same time, I'm a very respectful person. And I feel like us as Black people, this is a global issue. This is just not you and me. This is a global issue. We're very emotional people. You know what I'm saying, though? There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I don't need to convince you, Focus. You and I were very similar people. I love your message, and I don't remember verbatim, word for word, what you asked me. You asked me a little bit last year about what do I think about reparation. I know you said, I agree with some of the things the brother was saying, but blah, blah, blah. But, and I know when I was looking at the timeline, and I was long-winded. I understand that, but I like your message, and my whole thing is your message is good. but there's other people that has your message. You know, what we need to do is get together. And you got you have other people that's on your show live or whatever, just smart, articulate. I'm not into like using big vocabulary word. I'm into actions. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, man. Like, so I mean, so pretty much, you know, we need to catch up, man. Like, and caught up with. I don't know if you want to ask me some questions. You know, I have other, because we can just talk, man, about society, about Chauvin, about reparations, about whatever you want, man. Because you and I are very similar.
Right. I mean, yeah, you could say what you want. You know, I'm you know, let everybody get a chance to call in too, though. But you could go ahead, like, if you want to talk about trials, or you know what I'm saying, what happened afterwards with the you know, 2 more murders since then.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I don't have enough. Okay, so focus. I'm from Haiti originally. Right. I'm from Haiti originally. So I've been almost living here for almost 30 years. Okay, I'm 42 years old. I live in Columbus, Ohio, and so you know, yeah, we can talk about. Here's my thing. People are celebrating, which, yeah, he should be. They should try him on first-degree murder instead of like this manslaughter thing, second day, whatever. Yeah, it's good. I'm glad. You know, I wasn't gonna be surprised if he was found not guilty as well. So I think if he is he facing like 40 years or 75 years maximum?
I'm not even sure, but you know, he ain't getting nothing like that.
Right. I mean, I mean, I would be happy for him to get like the maximum. I believe he's 45 years old, and I think if he gets the maximum, I think it would be a good thing. You know, I believe I went somewhere like up 40 up to like 75. You know, but so I think us, we get too emotional, we celebrate too easily. I mean, we're not too easily. I'm sorry, we celebrate too soon. That's what I'm saying, though. You know, we wait for the conviction. We wait for the time. You know, we wait for the sentences. That's what I meant to say, sentences. And we'll go, and then we'll see. Listen, we not like. There's just like so many things. Like you said earlier, you know, you can't reason with people. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not like quoting you word for word. They don't look at you as human being. You know what I'm saying? They look at us as animals. Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's not honest though. You can't reason with a psychopath. That's the thing.
Yes. But you know what though? And like bullies, you know, people who bullies, they don't. Oh, let's pray about it. No, you gotta freaking like head them in the nuts, man. That's how they're gonna show you respect, you know. And you know, Focus, I was 3 weeks ago. I was just, hey, Focus.
Yeah.
I have an important call coming in. Can I let you go in and like try to hop on back? Is that okay?
Yeah, you can call back later.
All right, man. All right, peace.
All right.
Bye.
But yeah, as far as that divide thing, you know, that's the you know, key right there, because really, you know, like how they like to call it's called projection. If you look at everything, it's the opposite. They call you an animal. It's probably because they think that they're kind of savage and beastly, right? And you know, they call you a minority when really they are the minority around the world. So how do you maintain power when you are the minority around the world? Make everybody they all look at us as all niggas, but hey, we'll just put this group against this group, right? And they'll go to one place, starve these people come in friendly, right? Because they don't just come in, even though that's what you got to understand, because we a lot of times are afraid. Like, we talk about, what about their weapons and all of this. There's a reason why they gotta use deception, right? There's a reason why even with more weapons than you, they still have to have the bigger numbers. And my brother from who just called in from Haiti, we seen what happened when they have this great general Napoleon who got crushed, right? But that's why they have to keep you separated and arguing with each other, right? They'll starve you economically, then put you against each other, saying, "Oh, well, they want to come in on what you got," and the whole time they're funding both sides, right? And you're thinking they're your friend, but really they're setting you up the whole time, right? And you got to see through that. But that's why they got to keep you ignorant on history. They keep their own people ignorant on history. Their own people don't even know their own history. That's why they just believe whatever they tell them and they just regurgitate it. Because if you knew history, right, you will see that, when these people were brought together, especially on, enslaved, on plantation, they didn't speak the same language. But a lot of times when they were bringing slaves from different places, they had already known freedom and they start rebelling. They start fighting back and they were successful. So they said, well, we need to stop bringing in people who know what they're doing. It's easier to raise a slave from a baby than to make somebody who has known freedom a slave. And is a reason why it was illegal for us in this country to it's been illegal longer for us to not be able to read than it has been for us to go to public schools. Because if we did, we'll see the same things that's happening right now, all of the protests and all of that stuff. This has been going on for 400 years, right? But we'll start to learn what we went wrong and the things that we went right, because we was right a lot more times than we thought, and we held a lot more power than we thought. And your enemy understands all of this because they study you, they watch you, they imitate you, right? To this day they still do the blackface thing. What do you think that's about? That's a sick obsession. They understand where the power comes from. It's just that they've convinced us that we don't have it. And now we run from ourselves. And we're ignorant about history because it's been stripped from us on purpose. So now we sit there and argue about nationalities, about religion, about all of these kind of things. But if they see me or you, they don't care what my religion is. They don't care what my beliefs are. They see a black man coming down the street. And y'all could definitely call in. Hey, what's going on, Shanika, Roberto? Time to work. Man, that troll is not gonna call in because they know that's why they're here all the time. But you see all the time, you see their talking points because it can only be a certain amount of talking points. But all of these talking points have been destroyed for years, right? James Baldwin destroyed all of their talking points like back in the 50s. But you notice they always try to compare you to their killers, to their murderers, right? All while at the same time defending other killers and murderers, right? They say, oh, you're like Hitler. But what's the difference between Hitler and George Washington or Thomas Jefferson? If you ask me, Christopher Columbus is probably worse than all of them, the way he was going around. Or Leopold. See, the thing is, we never had that point where we came together, right? Because they shed each other's blood, still shedding each other's blood. But when it came to you, they learned how to come together over the whiteness. Right now, they can have German American, Italian American, French American, but let a Haitian or a Jamaican or an American or whatever do something to a French or German or whatever. All of that stuff is out the window. This Negro violated because you're never supposed to fight back. Those are the laws that America, I can show you all of these laws where you can't fight back, or that's the felony. You resisting. They know what to shout out when they're doing what they do. That's why they say it simultaneously as they squeeze the trigger. Because, they know what it is. But see, if we actually learn history, we see the same things happening over and over, right? But there's a reason why they had to completely destroy and erase our leaders from history. Because, if we was on some David Walker and appeal to Negroes across the world from 1700s until now, it'll be a whole different ball game. But, that's what happens when your enemy can control the narrative and can control the media and what you see and what you hear. They can tell you a false information, feed you whatever they want to feed you, because they have to keep you divided. That's the number one rule: divide and conquer. If any of y'all want to call in, the number is right there on the screen. You know, um, and there was some interesting stories, like just going back through history or whatever, and because a lot of the things, because another talking point they like to say, because what they have to do is make themselves not look as bad, like they are the victim, but they project what they do onto you. That's the only way that they can do it, right? That's why black has to equal evil. Black has to be devil. Black has to be getting over on somebody, like blackmail. That's the only way that white, which they perceive as the opposite, can be good. I mean, it's the laws of polarity. But yeah, time no work. Speaking of our own worst enemy, just some interesting stories, right? Because a lot of this, because they like to say a lot of black people own slaves, but a lot of these people own their own family members, right? But the mentality that we have to get over, right? You know, um, there's one story. Let me see. One sister. She was a free woman. Her name was Dilsey Pope, right? She was able to buy a man that she loved, right? So technically she was a slave owner, but it was her husband, right? And she rented him out so that they could make money, right? But one day they got into an argument and she got pissed off. So what she did was sold him to her neighbor, a white neighbor, right? Thinking the white neighbor was cool, and she was just mad at the time. So when she went back to apologize and get him back, of course the white neighbor wouldn't sell him back again, right? Now, these people, and this is the kind of people that you're dealing with, right? Because a lot of these people, a lot of these people were raping the women so much, right? And what they would do is rape a black woman, and then if the daughter, they would actually be raping their own daughter, right? And this is the kind of people that we're dealing with. Now, one slave was named Celia. Now, this was in Missouri. So this white dude bought her at the age of 14 to be a concubine. And from that day on until she turned 19, he was raping her. And he even had 2 children with her and everything. Now, Celia ended up falling in love with another slave named George, right? So she ended up getting pregnant, and she didn't know if it was George or the white dudes. So, this is the mindset that black men really have to get over when it comes to America for us to get out of this situation. Now, the dude, George, her husband, he didn't know if it was his baby, but he told her, now he was enslaved himself, but he told her if he allowed her to keep letting this white dude rape her, that he wouldn't deal with her anymore. Right now, he didn't take it into his own hands. He didn't say, "Look, this is my woman. This is never gonna happen." Right? He told her that if she let him keep doing it, then he's gonna he's gonna leave her or whatever. Well, not that he could leave her because he was a slave. Now, this woman straight killed this white dude the next time he tried to do anything to her, right? Because she was militant. But the whole point is, the mindset that you gotta have is if somebody comes into your house or violates your child or your wife or your mother, you can't let that happen. But right now, they can just walk into our house and do whatever we want to do, right? And we don't say anything. Oh, well, we'll say no justice, no peace, and then we'll go right back to peace before anything happened. And by the way, if any of y'all want to call in, I'm probably not gonna be on here too much longer. The number right there on the screen. I know this troll not gonna call in, but I want to give you another story just to show you the mindset of the kind of people you're dealing with right now. There was another in Florida. This was the first black woman to ever be publicly lynched, right? Publicly hanging, right? And by the courts anyway. Now it was another woman named Celia, and her father, a slaver named Jacob Bryan, he was molesting her and raping her for years, right? Even had children with his own daughter, right? And this was after raping her own mother to have her, right? And they had multiple children, right? And he had multiple enslaved children who he kept molesting and probably had babies by. So, one day, in in court just says that he was disciplining this 30-year-old woman, right? And he was trying to get her to do something, but she ended up splitting his head open with a knife and killed him. Now, even back then, the jury, they was trying to give an executive clemency for her so she wouldn't get hung. But the judge, because the law says if a Negro does anything to harm a white person or resist a white person, then it's automatically death. Because that's their law. That's the law of America. If you're resisting, that gives them license to kill. Now you're trying to reason with somebody who doesn't see you as a person. They see you as an object. You got to understand, when you come from a certain climate, when you come from lack, a mindset of lack, because we don't understand where they come from before this. Just before they got to America kidnapping us, it was the dark ages. But we don't study history enough that, well, we do understand that, but we don't really put it together. What do you think will happen if you decide to get up and leave? You don't think it'll be another dark ages? That's why they study you. That's why they try to take your DNA. They know what position they're in. That's why, the trolls always show up, but they don't never call in or say anything. Right? They literally raped us so much that it changed our DNA. But one thing that America has always did was talk about self-defense from day one and until right now. They are the country that spends the most money on self-defense, more than anybody else. So if you're going to be American, why not take that part of America? Because I'm not telling you nothing different than George Washington told America, right? They didn't want to pay tax money, so they said no justice, no peace. They said liberty or death. Right now, they slaughtering 7-year-olds, 13-year-olds, right? On the last video, little girl getting off the school bus, and this white woman, impatient, drives around the bus, hit this young girl, dragging her, and kills her instantly. Now, it's already illegal just to drive around the school bus. And, the young sister, Amaya Braxton, a couple of days before her birthday. Now, here it is, and this happened in 2016, 5 years later. Do you think this white woman even got a traffic ticket? All of a sudden, all of these laws are so confusing, right? It's hard to get a conviction. Now, the same county, a little white boy got hit. Instantly, they didn't care what race the person was. The person got charged. Because they understand the rules, that they know what they are doing. They show you every single time. That's why they punish you harsh if you dare do something that they do. If you say don't shoot us, all of a sudden now you got a militia. When they got the biggest gangs in the world, the military and the police, and we fighting to be a part of their game. But you got to understand, you can't take the root out of something and still have the same thing. How you going to take the blood and the crimes and all of that stuff out of American history? What do you have left? Right, we learn it, but then we try to explain it to the very people who instituted. It's not by accident. There are no coincidences. When something happens, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that you go to a black nation and it's somehow poor. Yeah, they always gotta call you the racist one. That's why they always try to compare you, but they can only pick other white people to compare you with. But we all know what racism is, because if we were really racist, then they would be terrified. because for us to have the power. And do you know why? Because they would be afraid that we would do to them what they did to us. That's how it works. They think that the whole world sees it through their eyes, lives in their delusional world. Nobody wants to burn children at the stake, burn other humans at the stake. They wouldn't even burn their own dog at the stake, but they did it to you. Like, why would I want to poke somebody's eyes out for being able to read? But they did all of that to you because they need you to be in the position that you're in. That's why you're not getting nowhere trying to reason with anybody, trying to talk it out, trying to work it out. There is no working it out because they need you to be in the position that you are in. Who is going to give up power and control and domination of the world? Right? If they want to be able to cut a forest down right now, they could. But you grow a weed plant in your backyard, you'll get 30 years. But they can make $1 billion off that industry. Why would they want to give that up? Right? They can take your gold or whatever natural resources that you have and give you pieces of paper with dead people on them that would have killed you. Why would they give that up? Right? You go to work because that's the other part of the 13th Amendment we don't talk about, the involuntary servitude. Well, let's just make it so they volunteer to be servants. Because why would a place, if you rent an apartment, why would they require your rent to be 1/3 of the income and nothing more if they didn't want to keep you poor, to keep you in that position? That's why it's important for you to build your own property. Yo, brother Bakar.
Yeah, peace, my man. What's going on there, Forecast?
What's going on, brother Bakar?
I'm good, man. One love, brother.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, I'm sitting here listening to you, enjoying it. But I have something I want to ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this turns, when I say this, it turns some people wrong. We know how these people are. Mm-hmm. We know who they are. We know what they're going to continue to do, right? Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like it's our fault for want to be up on this 2021. It's our fault to want to be under those people, man. Yeah. It's our fault. It's our fault for celebrating shit like Chauvin and Chauvin conviction, whatever the hell his name is, his verdict, you know? Mm-hmm. An hour later, they killed this little black girl in Columbus, Ohio.
Not even an hour later. They did it like as they were speaking, you know what I'm saying?
And then you have black men on Facebook, one I know personally, talking about that officer is a hero. You take a life to save a life. You know, it's almost, we sit back, it's regular for us to be killed by them. We sit back and we take it. That's why we are not respected. We're not respected, one, because I think the first problem, because we don't respect ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. We have accepted everything these people told us, right? Everything that they have ever done, everything they ever told us, we have accepted then say, but we made it cool. Like the N-word. You can't make that cool. You're proud to be a slave. But it bothers people when you tell them that, even if I say, don't call me that, the disrespect from black people, they want to call you that anyway, if you tell them you're not. But they don't call Mexican wetbacks. They don't walk up to white folks, call them crackers. They don't walk up to Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and call them spics. They don't walk up to Asians and call them gooks. And they don't, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
We know what these people do. So So now I'm asking, what are we gonna do? Who want to be part of a real black militia? I try not to say that loud too much on YouTube.
Say it. Shit,
but who want to be part of one? It's in the Constitution where you need one. Yeah. If you read the Constitution, who want to be part? Not one that's looking for, what's it called? Attention. Yeah. I don't think the other guy was an agent. I just think he was looking for attention. This stuff is not going to stop in our communities and our neighborhoods until we stop it. There is no way that police should have been able to drive out of that neighborhood safely. They shouldn't even feel comfortable. Like, have you ever read this book? Have you ever heard of the book? I talk about it all the time, called We Will Shoot Back. You ever read that?
No, I ain't read it. I think I heard you say it.
Listen to it on YouTube. Just listen to the reading of that book. Listen to it. Mm-hmm. And watch how they would tell you when Dr. King talked about from Virginia to Mississippi and every state in between down south, how it was places white people was afraid to go. Yeah. When Dr. King first started marching, look and see how the cops or non-white people would punch him because he had militias with snipers with him that had taken some out. Yeah. But we forget that history. But we need to learn more of that history and talk about that history more, because if we do, we will understand the things that we can do. Yeah. But as long as we hold on to what they have done to us and never talking about the other side of what we have done to them, we're going to always stay in this bubble of being, well, you know, they got the military. Well, you know, they got that. Well, you know, if we do this, they going to do that. All the time. Well, you know, if we try to build a community, look what they're going to do to us. So let's find the ones that they couldn't burn down. And let's talk about them that when they did try to burn them down, we had a well-armed militia ran them out. Mm-hmm. Man, we need to understand that we are in a war. Because if we ever understand that we are in a true war, right? Mm-hmm. We will be more willing, I believe, to take care of ourselves. Some of these coons and sambos, whatever you want to call them, bed whippers and big bucks, they going to have to go. All these old leaders, now Sharpton ain't even real old. I bet he only like 64. But people like him, they got to go. Roland Martin, he ain't even old, but got to go. Louis Farrakhan, even though they only worry about the Nation of Islam, they ain't worried about all black folk. But we going to have to get rid of those leaders. We have to get rid of the old leaders. It's time for some new, fresh leaders. And when we come together, we can't be afraid to put our money together, because people can't be out here working, putting their life on the line with no compensation. Man, when I go out here and I go look for guns and bullets, right? Mm-hmm. Every group of people that's in there, you can see the Latinos, Hispanics, whatever you want to call them, white folk, black folk. Every group of people is in there with a team talking about what we need, what we need, what we need. Every black person you see, they're going to be by themselves unless he with his girlfriend. We not a team, and when you hold those conversations, because I hold them right in the gun store. Like I said, I have these conversations public. We don't want to, man, I'm just worried about me. Ain't no going to mess with me. We're going to have to get out of that selfish attitude, because the people we're under, the people who have subjugated, this is one of the white subjugation, have told us, and our people listen, that we are supposed to be selfish, right? Yeah. That we're supposed to just worry about ourselves. But they don't just worry about themselves. They don't just worry about themselves. They are a team. Regardless of what we want to say, the rich white folks don't like the poor whites, it don't make a difference. They are a team. They're going to ride together. All of them. That's why I created the term. That's why we created the term of community project, Team Black. Because we have to become a team. And if we become a team, we can win. Stop trying to make everything equal for everybody. We have to understand that we are just for ourselves. Or we continue to go through this for another 50 years, for another 100 years, hoping that somebody can change. Hoping that we can come out here and talk about light enough and love, and everybody love enough to these people decide to say, you know what, we love y'all. Because that's what black people is waiting on for the most part, see, like, okay, we love y'all. Man, we got to look in the mirror, and our men, we're going to have to look in the mirror. We go around these YouTube channels, they want the women to submit, bow down to them. But you don't feel you have to be willing to protect and provide for your community. But you want the community to bow down to you just because you're a man. Start doing men stuff. You understand? I don't know if that makes sense or not. Yeah. I just went on rambling, but bruh, I'm going to get off here, and I'm going to listen offline, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate you calling. And that was a good show. That was a good question. You know, tell everybody the show you had the other day.
Oh, it was called, y'all should go check it out. It's called Uncomfortable Conversations. And if anybody in this chat ever heard, especially with everything going on now, you see the black people on TV and on YouTube talking about it's time for us to have these uncomfortable conversations, which are non-black friends. But if they're your friends, why is the question? Why is these conversations uncomfortable? But don't just have a conversation with your friend. I know black people here live in neighborhoods that when you go into those neighborhoods, these foreigners own these stores, Arab, East Indians, Orientals who you spend money with, they've been getting your money for 4 or 5 years, damn near every day. Have you ever had the conversation with them about race? Have that conversation with them, and you'll know how these people feel. Don't go in there trying to be friendly. Have a real conversation with them just like you have it with black people. That's what I do. You're going to pull the truth out. Then you're going to understand why. If you don't want to listen to me when I say, we got to stop giving our money to these foreigners, we don't want to do a boycott, we're going to change our mindset, and we're going to just stop giving them our money. We're going to stop giving away our power to other people. Because it goes from white subjugation in this country to Arab subjugation, East Indian subjugation, Oriental subjugation, and now when it comes to certain things, Hispanic subjugation. And it's like we're okay with that, like we are supposed to be everybody's footstool. But people don't want to hear when people like me speak, because they want to call me racist. Like, if you call me that, so what? That means I'm doing my job. If you understand who I am, that means I'm doing my job. If you can tell that's how I am, I'm doing my job. But we have to have these uncomfortable conversations. I'm going to do an uncomfortable conversations part 2. And I'm going to also do a show. I was going to do it tonight, but it got late. I'm going to do a show talking about the guy from Minnesota who just got off. Not got off, who went to jail, right?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, he ain't gone to jail yet. He ain't been sentenced. But you know what I'm talking about, the guy who killed George Floyd.
Yeah, chauvinist, whatever.
So while he was on trial, they killed this mulatto kid in Minnesota. Ain't black, mulatto, right? Half black.
Right.
The day his verdict come down, they killed a black girl.
Mm-hmm.
They are sending messages and daring you. It was this one white dude came on, was part of a militia, and they was on Facebook. I couldn't save it. I seen it on Facebook. I also seen it on YouTube. Don't care what happened in this Chauvin case. Don't care what happened. Black people need to get ready. You know, the thing about me, I am ready, you know. But more than me or more than you, we can't be ready in certain areas. We have to be ready everywhere as a team. Because I'm not worried about them. You know? They can come if they want. Because the same thing that hurt me hurt them. That's what black people need to understand. Same thing hurt us, hurt them. If a bullet hurt you, the bullet hurt them. Yeah. If they can put a rope around your neck and put you on a tree, you just let them know you live in a place with a whole lot of trees that's good for lynching. The same thing can happen to them. But it ain't just them. When I say white, I'm talking about everybody. everybody that ain't black, everybody that's not black of African descent, them the ones that's against us, all of them, because they have come here and they fit their honorary totem pole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, my channel, Brother Bakari, man, if y'all never heard of me, you have now. Go check out a couple of my shows and smash that subscribe button, that notification bell. Tell me what you think, man. All right there, Forecast. I'll holler at you later, brother. Peace.
All right, bro. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah, they definitely send a message. And the whole point is, and I talk about all of these cases all the time, but that seems to be the thing to get people to that point. But the whole thing is, we should be mad that this whole environment, like it was, that this young sister was out there, in that position with all the other people that are out there. We should be mad that we ain't have nobody to call instead of somebody who we know for hundreds of years that they began hunting us down, murdering us. We should still be mad that we have to call them and we ain't got our own institutions for that. We should be mad that, our children and us, all of us, aren't educated on our past to prevent all of this stuff from happening. Because you know what? And my brother was kind of talking about it, but we've been knowing this for a long time with that with the doll test, because we've been programmed to hate ourselves, to look at ourselves as ugly, to look at ourselves as bad. That's why it's so easy for us to get off code, to support a system designed to destroy us. That's the thing that they beat into us on purpose. But we should be mad that any of these things was even the whole environment, because this is not the kind of environment that we are used to. Now, you talked about Martin Luther King too. Well, we have to realize the year before Martin Luther King, because the year when after Martin Luther King got murdered, the people went off in the streets, right? But what they won't tell you is Martin Luther King, because they give the credit to the nonviolent movement, but it wasn't the nonviolent movement. The year before Dr. Martin Luther King got shot and killed in '67, the people was going off in the streets. See, they won't tell you about that part of it, because Black people were tired, fed up, because they had get beat up through the whole civil rights movement, and they start saying, you know what? If they hit you, you hit them back. If they do something to you, you do something back. And what they would do was post up on rooftops in their own communities, because there was no illusion of inclusion. We was in our own neighborhood surrounded with each other, right? So they would get up on the rooftops, and a lot of them had just came back from the war, or war, especially World War II. That was a couple years before that, and they would shoot out the street lights, and any white person coming into their neighborhood trying to start trouble, they would just shoot them down. Right? They protected their neighborhoods. They built barricades so they couldn't just come in. All throughout America, people was getting tired of the injustices. It was over 150 some riots in 1967. That's really why the voter rights, all of that stuff start really getting passed. It wasn't Martin Luther King per se, right? It was Stokely Carmichael and them coming up saying, if you don't listen to Martin Luther King, you're going to have to deal with us. But your enemy is always steps ahead. They keep you divided. They say, okay, well, they're getting kind of strong. Black men and Black women and children are standing up together, and they're riding. They're ready to fight back. So let's do something to shake things up, right? Let's destroy these families, right? Let's create havoc and chaos in their communities. See, we don't give credit to the system that we're living in. There's no coincidences. Our people just aren't in the street lost for no reason, because we were born that way. It's because you have an enemy that literally came to target you. to set it up for it to be that way. And now, like my brother is saying, you can see a little girl in the street, and we have our own people saying, well, you know, he was a hero. This cop was a hero. First of all, you didn't even mention how this cop just shot into a crowd. He could have hit the other girl she was about to stab, first of all. Because I'm sure if y'all haven't noticed, they aren't exactly marksmen. But the whole issue is we didn't have an institution or all of these mental health patients and people. Sometimes they got to call somebody because the people is going off. They're having mental health crisis. And you got to call somebody who, first of all, don't get patience for a mental health call. Second, don't even see that person as a person. This is the kind of thing that we really should be mad at, right? Let alone that not controlling our own food. Now, we can grow our own food and all of that, but if they really want to be technical, they can come up with some kind of violations and make you pay fines and make you pay this and make you pay that if they really want to, because they'll charge you for water that's 70% of the earth. They don't care. Yeah, we are not violent against anyone. But, you know, do they call, like I said, do they call their forefathers violent, or do they put their faces on mountains? Because they can tell you all day, forget about your history, and then send you to school to learn that Christopher Columbus discovered America, right? You don't learn that he cut off people's hands if they didn't bring enough gold. You learn he discovered America. But they can tell you to forget about your history, but they'll send you to school with a civics book and a white woman to teach you, because that was a part of the divide. Because, you know, you can go back to the 50s and look at all of those, you know, they was trying to get white people to accept black people's money because this was an untapped market, right? We can't keep having all of these Negroes in their own neighborhoods building businesses, and we got to keep burning them down every 20, 30 years, right? Let's just disperse them and take their money. Right? Because when they were arguing for integration, it was a reason, because they had to go to schools. They didn't have lights, heat. They didn't have bathrooms. They didn't have books. They was getting taught out of Jet Magazine. And back then, Jet Magazine had Black history. But the teachers had to bring their own stuff. They were trying to get funding because they were getting taxed still, just like we're getting taxed right now. And Thurgood Marshall, he had actually won the case. They were ready to give equal funding, and you probably would have had to fight, but you fought for integration to get in their schools, so you could have did the other thing. But Thurgood Marshall said, no, there's no equal, it can't be equal unless we're in their schools, because we don't have the same connects. But we don't need their connects. Right? We can build our own. We've always built our own. And every time we did build our own, we have been successful. The only thing we haven't been successful in, as the overall thing, is protecting it. Sometimes we were, but that's the thing we don't hear. But see, once they got us to stop going to our own schools, especially learning about your Blackness, especially, right? That's when that illusion of inclusion started to come in a little bit. Right now, you going to school learning from a white teacher instead of a Black teacher. Hello?
Hey, Forecast is Full Edge again, man. What's up, my brother?
What's going on, bro?
Not much, man. Not much. Hey, I was catching the tail end of what you're saying, though. We've been, like you said, each time we build something, we've been successful. Okay, I agree with that. It's just like, how do we maintain that success? How do we protect it? You know what I mean? Go ahead, man. How do we protect that focus? How do we protect where did the Black Wall Street went wrong?
Well, Black Wall. Well, it depends. 'Cause like I said, my brother mentioned it. There's certain places that didn't fail. Black Wall Street, they kind of were slipping because they didn't think. Put it like this, right? One of the survivors from the Rosewood thing, she was like the last survivor. If you look it up, she did an interview and she said, if you ever build your own, don't do it surrounding white people because the same thing is going to happen to you. Right now,
Right.
If you want to know how you maintain whatever, how did your enemy maintain their position? How did they get in the position?
Right. Right. So I have so many things. Like for me, let me ask you a question. This is a hypothetical. Let's just say that I give you tons of money, like $2 billion. Do you I want you to focus to build another Wall Street and stuff like that. You can build it anywhere you want to, in America or out of America, on the continent or in the Caribbean or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
How would you? What I mean, like, how would you? I'm setting you up. Actually, I'm setting you up. I want to hear what you have to say. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm setting you up. I know what I would do with that. I know where I would want to build it, but I want to hear from you. Go ahead.
Right. How would I?
Yeah.
You said,
what
would I do to build? Well, first of all, like, we don't even have to wait. I say it all the time. Like, right now we can nominate, the most successful Black business people, have an election because people gave us a hard time voting for Joe Biden. So if you can't vote for something like that, and we can build a council strictly to fund and grow Black businesses that we all can contribute to right now. We could do that right now, and of course you got to make sure they stay transparent, and your enemy will try to get into it. That's why you got to be vigilant and make sure it's protected. But we can build these key things now. But first, it comes with, once you do that, then you can start building institutions. You're gonna have to start building schools. You're gonna have to start building hospitals. You're gonna have to build grocery stores. You're gonna have to start doing all of these things. But you're gonna have to, like, the Black. Once you get rid of the illusion of inclusion, that whole thing will take care of itself. Because Black Wall Street wasn't just Black Wall Street; it was everywhere because they had no choice. They had to spend their money with each other, and we don't have a choice right now. But the thing is, right? And your enemy, they will tell you go back to Africa and all of that stuff. But if you went back to Africa or anywhere on this planet, guaranteed in a few years, when they realize that they need you and they already know it, that's why they don't really let you go. They're gonna come and try to kidnap you again. Now, this time, right, in history, because all the time in history, from day one in Africa, when they saw the pale faced person, they welcomed them with open arms. You know what I'm saying? Still to this day, they kill our people and we go hug them in the courtroom. You know what I'm saying? But your history, if you teach your children, if you make sure that they, especially, right, if you were in Africa or wherever, or Black places around the world, and you cut them off from those natural resources, they could not survive, right? But you just have to, at the end of the day, what are you willing to sacrifice to keep it or to get it? Are you willing to give liberty or death because your enemy is? Are you willing to go farther to maintain your self autonomy? Because they are willing to risk it all to keep you a slave. So
so you still didn't give me, but even that's fine. But listen, man, what you say, man, I agree with you 100%, my brother. I don't. Here's my thing. I hate those YouTube people. Like, they just come on and like yelling and arguing and things like that. But the thing is, though, man, I don't have to agree with anything you say, but I agree with what you said, though. Well put, my brother. Right. But my thing is, though, here's what I would add on. If I give you that $5-10 billion to build me like a Wall Street, like a big city or whatever, I don't think you can build it in America. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah. Okay. We are the original people. You know, I mean, listen. By the way, I listen to you how you talk. I know you're very articulate. You're well versed in with your history. You know, outside of Africa, outside of the United States, actually, Brazil have the largest black population in the world beside Africa. You know that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the thing, man. Again, I agree with everything you say. If we try, I mean, like, I listen to, Umar Johnson, stuff like that, too. Very smart brother. I know he's trying to build a school and stuff like that. Like, black people, I mean, he's like I said, though, man, we are here. I think some of us are like want to be comfortable with the oppressions. We don't want to ride up. I mean, for me, my situation is very unique. I just feel like we're not ready, man. This post-traumatic slave syndrome have put us in a situation like where we're still sleeping. We're still asleep. Yeah. All of us, So, yeah. I mean, go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, well, I mean, you can't afford to be asleep. I mean, if you say you're not ready, well, we should have been ready 400 years ago. Like, at some point, you're just gonna have to wake up, or you're gonna die. Like, there's no other choice. You can't still be asleep. And like, that's why I do the kind of videos I do. Because we might not agree on religion, we might not agree on personal stuff, but I'm pretty sure 99. Well, like my brother did say, there's some people that don't, but I'm pretty sure most of us will say we don't want our children to be shot down in the streets, especially on camera in front of everybody, right?
Right.
And and like when Emmett Till's mom left the casket open, that's when we should have been ready. There's a reason why she left that casket open. You know what I'm saying? We should be mad about that. Like, if we aren't ready, then you might as well give up right now and just submit to white supremacy if you aren't ready, because there is no other option. There is no other choice. They're killing you right now. So,
what did you repeat that again, Focus?
No, I just said they're killing you right now. So,
Yeah. Let me ask you. I will. I'll just say this. Because I don't want you channel. I'll just speed it on code. What do you think about the V19? Are you gonna take it, or what?
Yeah. I'll say it. I'm not taking no COVID medicine. I'm not taking no vaccine. None of that. I'm good.
That's for the melanated people, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. Well, I mean, it's hard to say what it is, like, because I don't know, like, I mean, I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more people that know a lot more stuff about that. But I know that, I haven't been sick since I was like 2 years, like 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good on that.
Right.
Right. But it is suspect that they're trying to make you to take this vaccine or whatever. But
go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just gonna say, of course, about Bill Gates and all of that stuff, and over how he got kicked out of countries. But we don't talk about him. He and his crimes against humanity, like, and he's walking around free, like, putting them on TV. This is the kind of people that you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
He's like people keep talking about police brutality. This guy is like worse than you road cop. This guy needs to be locked up. This guy is not a doctor. This guy, what if he so care about black lives? There's two things I would tell him. I said, like, Why don't you advocate for reparations? Why don't you come out and denounce police genocide against black people? You know what I'm saying, though? But yeah, black people, go ahead and get this shot. But we're not gonna give you reparations.
Yeah.
That's it. Just doesn't make sense, man. And there's a few things I want to say because I don't want to be too long-winded with you because I could talk for hours and days with you, my brother, because you're very knowledgeable, man, and I appreciate it, man. So, obviously, let's talk about this. 3 weeks ago, I was crunching some numbers. I was just like, I was killing some time. I come up with 47 wealthy black people, athletes, whatever, actors, actresses, or what have you. Mm-hmm. And I said, let's just say that we want to do something, awesome, inspire our people. Mm-hmm. If they donate like $100 million, you out of that math, that's like $4.7 billion. Mm-hmm. We don't need to asset bank. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do that. We go and just do it. Yeah. Focus. What I say, you and I are very similar. I'm gonna revert back to this because we're not ready. We think it's a game, and they're laughing at us. Oh, we can just do whatever we want. We can just rip their women. We can just kill them out. Well, nothing is gonna happen. Oh yeah, some of us we can sacrifice, a few white people here and there and stuff like that. They're clapping, dancing in the street, twerking, and think this is justice. The thing is, though, I think this Olympic Tokyo, I probably said that to you last year. I think that was in a statement if all the athletes don't go to Tokyo this summer and just not do anything. And if you remember 2.5 years ago when France won the World Cup, and people were saying like Africa won it. It was a bunch of black people that was on their team. So my thing is that we've got it. We just need a leader, a global leader like a Marcus Garvey. Yeah. Okay? Mm-hmm. Who with no Instagram, with no TikTok, with no YouTube channel, rallied 13 million people. It's a record I think is still stand today. Yeah. And I feel like, and here's the thing, I'm not dogging black people. I'm talking about globally. I'm just saying I'm ashamed. I am ashamed personally. We've let our ancestors down. They didn't die for this. We've got all the technology in our hands. Like you were saying that we would forgive our killers in the courtroom. We would do this, like the Botham Jean thing. That was ridiculous, Yeah. But
I mean, look, I would say this, don't ever say that, you're ashamed or whatever. Like me, I'm doing this because I have the utmost faith in us, and I know that we will get out of the system. Like we are our ancestors. Like I'm not gonna say our ancestors are ashamed of them. We are them. We still here, still doing the fighting. We're standing on their shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Like we can say what we say now and not get lynched because of people like Ida B. Wells. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, Harriet Tubman. I mean, it's just like, I was listening to a podcast. Like I was listening to Malcolm X, wife talking for the first time. I didn't know this. I'm learning every day. The FBI offered him $6 million not to discontinue what he was doing, just to slow it down. And he said no, and you know about that. He said no. $6 million? Back in the day, do you know how much money that would be? That would be probably close to $100 million today, or what have you, in the 50s or whatever, middle 60s. But the thing is, though, man, you open up my eyes a lot, man. Like, yeah, we are our ancestors, but we can do better.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then also, I know people, about the Derek Chauvin verdict. if you let's just reverse the picture. Okay, that the color that Derek Chauvin was black. He did that to George Floyd. I think they would have put the death penalty. They would have probably they would have probably executed that person. I just don't. To me, yeah, I'm happy he got convicted, and there's just like so much, man. Black people have just been through. We haven't had any justice, man. Yeah. And the conviction, we're gonna see the time served. We're gonna see. They could give him 5 years. They could give him 10 years. That should be a murder one, my brother, with the intent. So, let me ask you something. What? Unity is the key. I mean, America's falling. Yeah. What do we? What are we gonna do? You the leader. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking in hypotheticals. You are one of the leaders, man. You might not think so.
Well, yeah. Well, let me say, because I do want to. I'm not gonna be on too much long. I want to give if anybody else want to call in, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I say this. See, they think that they can take out quote unquote leaders or whatever, and then they'll take them out of history or whatever. Well, first of all, it doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that is an energy. Like, it's not a person, it's an energy. You have to have that energy of freedom. And I said it before, I say it all the time. The real black leader, the real black messiah is black unity, right? You may have because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, you know what I'm saying? So you need a doctor, you need a lawyer, you need a businessman, you need a teacher, you need this person, you need that person to build a whole community. It's not one leader. For us to get freedom is all of us playing our individual roles. And you don't have to worry about it being everybody. You just need a critical mass amount of people to wake up from the illusion of inclusion. That's what you need. It's not one person. Black leaders, that's why they thought they could kill Martin Luther King and the movement be done, but it wasn't done. What they did other things, but it wasn't one person. It's an energy, and the energy keeps flowing, and they can never stop it ever. No matter what they do. And that's why they're turning over. Like, their ancestors are turning over in their graves because they see what they have done is coming to an end, and now their children who are here now are talking about, well, I've never done anything, because they think they're going to have to pay for what their ancestors did. But really, they don't want this system destroyed because they know this system is what protects them, is what saves their life. They're going to fight tooth and nail for that. They're going to do everything they can do for that. There's a reason why you have the president. But if the president is assassinated, you have the vice president. If the vice president is assassinated, you have this person and that person, because it's a system. It's not a person. And they feel like, especially if they can have it as one leader, well, we can just chop off the head and the snake dies or whatever. But, and especially if they can select your leaders for you, they don't even have to chop the head off, because now they gave you your own leader. But that's the way it works. We have to stop having this whole mindset and put aside our tribal differences, our differences about where we are in the world or whatever, all of that, because we're being attacked by that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have any other choice. And if them shooting little kids down on video isn't enough motivation to do what we got to do, then I don't know what it's gonna take. I mean, it's been 400 years by now. Like you think they was ready in the 60s? No, they just got to that point where we fed up. But once, it's just like any abuser or whatever, right? Say you see an abusive relationship, and as soon as that person realizes, like, hey, I don't need this, then you see the whole time that abuser needed you, and you had the power the whole time. And it's not about being ready or whatever. Sometimes you do got to get to that point where you just snap. But how long is that point going to be? You know.
Right, right. No, I mean, amen, man. Amen to what you say. Listen, you know, whenever you go online, I will try to try to be respectful, and also at the same time, try to chime into, time to time.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Again, I appreciate everything. Like I said, we are the original people. We've been, tricked, we've been bamboozled, and like you said, it's gonna take a collective. It's gonna take you lawyers, you teachers, you doctors, you businessmen, you agricultures, you scientists, and stuff like that. But like I said, though, man, once that happens, it's a wrap. So, but yeah. So thank you, Focus, and keep doing your thing, man. Okay, keep doing your thing.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all, man.
All right, my brother. See ya.
All right, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate Jermaine Time to Work. Definitely. If anybody want to call in, you can call in. I'm not gonna be on. I've been on here for a while now. Number is 804-601-4015. Now, of course they convicted this cop or whatever, but of course we can't be happy. We talked about it time and time again. But, as a people, we have to get to that point where because guess what? Your enemy, they did all of this because they didn't want to pay taxes, right? But they are shedding our blood, have shedded our blood. We can sit here and name people all day from the last 10 years. We didn't even have to go back 400 years. From the last 10 years, we can sit here and name names all day and keep going. That's a mentality. That's something that we have to change. Now, of course, your enemy is going to make you think that, you have to get some kind of permission or you have to do something. But once you wake up and realize the true power that you have, then you will see, and because they already know. That's why they have to use, what's going on, Melanin always? Call him, sis. That's why they use the tactics that they use to keep you in the position that you're in. It's not about them having the bigger weapon. It's just once you get fed up and tired, because they're sending you a message. They're going to keep pushing you and keep pushing you. Why would anybody give up that position that they're in? Y'all can call in. The number is 804-601-4015. You can call in, say your opinion if you got an opinion about what happened in the Derek Chauvinist case or whatever. But we as a people cannot be celebrated because what they do, and this is the tactic that they do, they give you symbols, right? Like Barack Obama was a symbol, but they don't give you anything tangible. And my brother said earlier, they won't give us reparations, but that's because we have to take reparations, right? Our ancestors' blood, sweat, and tears will not go in vain. See, they're talking about studying. We can name 30 different individual incidents that all deserve its own reparations, just off the top of the head. But that's something you have to be prepared to take. That's something that you have to get that fear out of your heart. But there's a reason why they instilled that fear. There's a reason why they took that biggest man and broke him down.
Call from.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey.
It's the forecast. This is Melanin always.
Hey, what's up, Melanin always? How you been?
How you doing, brother? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
I just tuned in.
Oh, yeah.
I know you guys were talking about the trial and the verdict and everything.
Oh, yeah, you can talk about that. Plus, after that, you seen they shot that little girl, and then another brother just got shot in North Carolina.
Yeah. Like you always say, brother, it's going to continue to happen. We have to put our tribal differences aside, but we're celebrating. That's the conditioning of our people. We are celebrating for what? He got convicted, but he didn't get sentenced. The only sentence will be electrocution, lethal injection, death.
Death by firing squad, hanging.
Yes, something, all of that. He's going to be somewhere sipping Mai Tais, probably do 4 days probation. We have nothing to celebrate. Unless the Constitution is revamped, because they're killing us by the second. So, what are we celebrating? We always go along to get along. But I really appreciate what you're doing. Please continue. You have so much knowledge and putting everything out there like that, because we can't depend on the news.
Right.
So keep doing your thing. And I always share your videos, and I'm glad I found this channel.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all of y'all for real. Like, y'all the reason why.
No problem. Do you have a Patreon or some type of Cash App or something?
No, I don't have a Patreon, but I mean, I got like Cash App and PayPal and stuff in the description, and all. It's all in the description.
Okay. Well, I'll go to that and look for your Cash App then. Keep doing your thing, brother. Continue. I don't know how old you are, but you are very, 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 very knowledgeable. So keep doing your thing.
Right. Yeah, I thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm going to continue to tune in.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate all of y'all support, man. Y'all definitely hold it down. Right. That's the thing. See, that's the mindset of a psychopath, right? They have to have the advantage of uneven playing field and still have to cheat. And sometimes they still lose, right? Why do you think they hate you so much? Why do you think they imitate you so much? Why do they think you try to be like you so much? We're just the only people on the earth that don't understand that, because they are in control of the media. They are in control of what we see until the internet came along and changed the game. But if all you see when you turn on the TV or whatever is, or look in the newspaper or whatever, any kind of media, is a black man robbing somebody, a black woman doing some dirty, or all of that kind of stuff, right? That's all you see. You look on a movie, black men's as pimps, right? Or killers. So you start, not only do they start to believe their own lie, you repeat a lie enough, not only do they believe their own lie, we start to believe it. We start to internalize it. Because that's what, a psychopath does. They gaslight you, they project and put all of their negative energy onto you while sucking your energy and your life and your spirit and your force away from you, so that they can build empires off of your blood, sweat, and tears. And still to this day, you have nothing. And they refuse to give you anything for it. They refuse to pay you what they owe you. But that's what a psychopath has to do, to keep you in that subservient position. That's why you got to realize what we're dealing with. It's not normal behavior for them to do the kind of, who bombs a church building and kills a little girl, right? Who sits there and justifies people being murdered for no reason and tell you, well, you should have just complied. See, you think that mindset is somehow, become normalized to this American bloodshed mindset, because that's all America has ever been, is a bloodshed mindset. And then on top of that, they've instilled a poverty mindset into us. But that's what mental conditioning does. That's why they show you the same images over, show you black is bad, black is ugly, when in reality it's the total opposite. The total opposite. Black is creative. Black people build things. Black is beautiful. It's in tune with the earth. Thank you. I appreciate that, Melanin, always. That was much love. But how could they enslave you if you know that, oh man, my black is beautiful. My black is power. I have energy to build nations. No, they say we built the nations, but they couldn't even get out there and pick some without getting sunburned and dying. It's the reason why they had to come and get you. They tried to do it without you. Believe that. And every single time they failed. All right, I'm going to keep repeating their real history. When they came to America and tried to do it without you, they died off like 4 or 5 times. They were sitting there eating each other. Right? And, you know, it was berries and fish all over the place. But they sitting there eating each other. But guess what? They came and got you, and you built a whole empire. But they tell you you're nothing but their slave, their worker. You're nothing. But a psychopath is always going to tell you the exact opposite. They're saying, I'm nothing. You are everything. I don't see a bunch of people doing white face minstrel shows. No, they imitate you. They try to be like you. It's just once we understand who we are, the world knows that. White supremacy is automatically destroyed because white supremacy can only be defined by black inferiority. They're telling you our numbers is going down. Our time is up. We have to do something. I'm not telling you that. They're telling you that. They understand about survival and they will do whatever it takes to survive. And we have not even done half of the things that we could possibly do. And look how far we have come. It's just once you get that fear out of your heart and understand that fear, because none of this stuff is a coincidence. Like the environment, that young sister that got shot in, the whole environment that she was in, it's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that it took however long, couple of weeks long trial to get convicted off of a manslaughter for a man. I ain't gonna say a man, for a dude, for a white boy, kneeling on somebody's neck on camera for over 10 minutes. None of it is by accident. None of it is by accident. We don't know our history, what we have done, the success that we have had. It's not by accident. It's all designed to be that way. It's just that we got to stop trying to fit into the system. Now, I give anybody else one last chance to call in, because I'm about to go ahead and get up off of here. But I definitely appreciate all of y'all for real. But, we can't be happy with just one conviction. And we can't keep taking symbols, right? We have to start understanding what symbols and what actual tangible things are. And we are all we got, right? We have picked ourselves up by, and we got to remember this. We are the only group in America to ever pick ourselves up by our own bootstraps. We've done it time and time again, but they tell you you are at the bottom, but we are the only group to do that, right? You have the white middle class was built off of handouts, right? Because they say, oh, a lot of them love to say, my parents didn't own any slaves. Well, all of those land grants and all of that stuff from the 1850s, they gave land away. That's how the white middle class was built. All of those GI bills, all of that stuff. They gave them handout after handout. The Jewish community, they give them money. The Asian community, they gave them money. We are the only group in America that didn't get some kind of handout. And it wouldn't have been a handout. It would have been paying what they owe. But for them to do that, they would have to admit to their crimes. Because guess what? You know, if you're going by European law, slavery is illegal. Well, slavery is legal, but kidnapping is illegal. And they kidnapped you and held you against your will, which is illegal. So for them to give you reparations will be admitting to a crime, which they cannot possibly do. But you are the only group in America, in the world, in America, in history, that has picked yourself up by your own bootstraps without help or anything. Don't sleep on how successful businesses work. Right? I live in Richmond, Virginia. There were, where Mackie L. Walker and all of that. There were businesses all over the place, right? We talk about the 60s, but the 20s, the same thing happened as the 60s. They were fighting back. They were protecting their communities. They were shooting back. They called themselves the New Negroes in the 1920s. After World War One, it happens over and over and over again. After the Revolutionary War, that's when they start talking about freedom. People start fighting back more and more. After the Civil War, people were fighting back. And understand, all of these wars, America, or the people that eventually won, which would become America, they were losing until they came to get you. But they knew not to arm you. They didn't want to, because they knew if they armed you, well, I ain't gonna be able to come in your community to violate you. And right now, if I can get on the radio and call 10 people that's armed to show up and say the police is out here violating my rights, and 10 people show up, they gonna think twice. If they know that it's consequences to their actions, they're gonna think twice. Right, there are tons, like you can never name enough. Right, you still see people hanging and they say it's a suicide and all of this crazy stuff, but they've always protected each other because their mindset ain't different from 1750. And don't think that they have a different business practice from 1750. They get paid for locking people up, and they lease out convicts. No different than they leased out slaves. Because some slaves even got 30 cents a day. It's the same process. It's just that your enemy isn't that creative. They just have to dress up the same thing different every so often to keep it going, to keep you confused. But it's always the same result. Making money off of your torture, off of your destruction, off of your enslavement. Because why would they lock up so many people on nonviolent drug offenses and then turn around and make billions of dollars selling the same thing? Because that's what they do to maintain their system, and your enemy will stop at no ends to stay in that position. But we got to respond with more urgency than they do to get out of this position. And we do have to realize that we are all we got, because until we do, then they're going to keep doing the same thing. They're sending you a message right now. Brother Bakari talked about it earlier on the new video. The white boy said, we're coming for y'all no matter what happens. And he said they'll think once, because they damn sure don't think about it before they do anything. Yeah, I mean, trust me, right? You can, if you ever had a bully, right, and they pick on you, they take your lunch money every day, you hit them in the face, especially you hit them one good time in the face, they gonna remember it. They might try it again. Then they gonna see they get the same results, right? I don't care if it take 100 times. You gotta fight 100 days in a row. If you fight that 100 days, it'll eventually stop. But if you don't ever fight, then it'll never stop. All right, Brother Bakari.
Awesome.
Yo, Brother Bakari.
What's going on, man? I had to call back in.
Yeah.
Elizabeth City, North Carolina today. White police killed a black man serving a
Yeah. I was just
arrest
talking
warrant.
Yeah,
They say the family won't answer us. They say the cops, the police department, with nobody, they refuse. They won't even ask questions about it.
Yeah.
And they have not released the body cam footage yet.
No. Yeah, they said they was serving a warrant or something, and then brother got in his car, then they shot at his car or something crazy, something like that.
Yeah, man, it's getting ridiculous, and we still trying to wait and depend on their system. We are waiting for them to give us justice. Even when it comes down to the reparations needs, we are waiting to give them justice. We are waiting for them to give us justice against their own people, man. If we ain't realized by now, man, that just ain't gonna happen. Yeah. We got two things to do: fight or flight, fight or leave. Yeah. I'm being honest. Fight or start making plans to go elsewhere.
Yeah, well,
the Black Americans, as they call themselves, at this rate, the rate we being killed, and the rate marrying outside our race, at the rate of all that. Next 50 years, man, we gonna be damn extinct. Yeah. We gonna be extinct in this country. At the rate, at this rate, this way continue, and with the way that we constantly kill ourselves. Right. I don't think Brandon I'm gonna leave on my own terms, but man, we gonna have to we're gonna have to stand on our square, man. We're gonna have to start living by a code. But as long as we are constantly allowing anything that come in between us, especially publicly, right? Mm-hmm. We'll never get out of this thing if we don't stop fighting one another. It's just that simple, man. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying we got to be perfect in no way, no stretch of the imagination, because we're people, we're humans. We're not gonna be perfect. Right. But we have to live by code, man. Or not, you don't see them going in nobody else's neighborhood doing the things they do to us in our neighborhood. Just think about that. Yeah, and think about these people that run and vote, right? And I'm not saying something wrong with voting if that's what you want to do. But you run and you vote. None of these politicians that you vote in don't even mention you. Don't do a damn thing for you. We out here talking about stroll to the poll, get your booty to the poll. We got the soul to the poll, vote or die. Then they wearing some damn chucks and pearls. But what have they said about black people? They don't even mention us. Black people's an afterthought.
No, Joe Biden did mention it. He said, Joe Biden said, it's no reason for y'all niggas to be acting the way that y'all are, you know.
He said that in Philadelphia when they killed that man in Philadelphia earlier this year. Earlier this year or late last year. Do you remember the police shot the man in Philadelphia?
Which one?
Matter of fact, it was last year because it was before he won the presidency. It was even before the election. It was like September, October last year. When they asked him what he think about going on, the first thing came out of his mouth was, we don't need all the rioting and looting. He didn't even mention the guy getting shot. Man, their goal is to take us out, right? And I'm going to tell you something, man, and I'm going to be honest. And this ain't me hating on nobody, right? But if people want entertainment, there's certain channels to go to on YouTube. Because most of these people on YouTube talking this black stuff, trying to create organizations, ADOS, Foundation of Black America. That shit is that's entertainment. You ain't gonna ever see them in the streets. You ain't gonna see them doing nothing. It's entertainment. It's a divisive tactic by people who I honestly believe is get paid. I think the leaders of both of those organizations are getting paid to be there to create divisiveness, to create the division. And the real people, you know, if you're not entertaining and if you ain't scamming, it's almost as if we want something to complain about. Like, I don't like calling people names, but you remember this one guy, he was in the conscious community, and everybody said he scam, right? But they always watch it. It's like we need something to complain about. Instead of us trying to fix ourselves, we need something to complain about.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I think we just gonna have to look in the mirror, put our pants up, and whoever want to work together, work together. And I ain't even telling no black person you got to say you come from Africa. I don't give a damn if you say you indigenous to this land. Regardless if I believe that or not, it don't make a difference. The ones that came from Africa, the ones from here, the ones from everywhere, we going through the same struggle. So why are we going to continue to debate that? Let's just look at one another and say, you know what? I'm from here, you from there, we cousins, and we going through the same struggle. Because they didn't ask that young lady in Columbus, Ohio, are you indigenous to this land? Are you a Moor? Are you a Hebrew? Or are you African? You understand what I'm saying? They didn't ask George Floyd that. They didn't ask the lady from Louisville, Kentucky that. They saw her skin. You feel me? And that's all matters to them. But we think of other stuff. We do. And I just had to call back in and say that, bro. Because I'm still listening.
Yeah, I appreciate it,
Appreciate you for taking my call, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Peace, one love, black solidarity.
All right. Yeah, I know. If any of y'all want to call in before I get off, I'm about to get off now. But yeah, my brother is right. You know, and the thing is, you know, as a people, right, we have to respond with more urgency than they do. And I'll say that no matter, he talked about fight or flight, but you know, we can go and do whatever we want, but you got to understand your enemy will always come down. That's how valuable that you are. Like, we don't understand that they're doing all this because they understand how valuable you are, right? And we can't underestimate that trauma that's been passed down in our DNA, but we can't underestimate that warrior spirit that's passed down in our DNA. And to be truthful, I'm more afraid not to say something and not to do something than to do something. Because guess what? They're killing us anyway. Nothing's going to change if we don't say something. If we don't do nothing, then we're going to look on TV tomorrow, another elderly person, another baby, another man, another woman. If we don't say something, I mean, if we say something, what's the worst that can happen? Because they're still going to do it anyway. And it's nowhere that we can go on this planet to escape it, because they understand that we are valuable. We have to understand how valuable our DNA is, to protect it, to cherish it. You got to understand that you are at war. You can't make certain decisions, right? You have to make a concerted effort into rebuilding the Black family if you really want this stuff to stop. You got to make a concerted effort to, find a Black husband or a Black wife, to have Black children, and instill that mindset into them. Because if you want to sleep out, first you got to destroy the system of white supremacy, if that's what you want to do. And it's not about hate. Understand that everything I'm telling you is about love. It's about loving yourself, cherishing yourself, because everything in this universe does whatever it takes to survive. And there's nothing wrong with you wanting to survive. There's nothing wrong with you loving yourself. And the part of loving yourself is not letting somebody violate you, somebody cross your boundaries. That's what psychopaths do. They violate your boundaries, right? They have to push your boundaries. But if you love yourself, you're not going to let somebody just do that to you. And that's the mindset that we have to have. That's why we have to get back to the basics, to go out of the way. That's what we mean when we say, that's what I mean when I say put aside our tribal differences, right? You have to go out of the way to build a Black family, to go get knowledge of self, of your own family, of your own history, your history of your people, and then teach that to your children. Because that's how you destroy that mindset. That whole buck breaking process, that was meant to be trauma passed down generationally. You got to understand that perpetual servitude means forever. When they said perpetual servitude, they meant they want you enslaved forever. And they're going to keep doing it. They're going to ride it until the wheels fall off. That's what they do. That's the mindset. That's what it is. That's why you have to love yourself enough not to apologize for standing up for yourself, for defending yourself. Understand how valuable your DNA is, and don't just give it away. And once you build that Black family, it'll be easier to build that community, because everybody understanding, being on the same page. But you can't build a community until you build family. It starts at home. One of us got to do our part. But you build that home, you build that community, you build that neighborhood, you build a nation. And until we have an army or a nation to protect us, then we are targets, and we will be targeted. Everybody got to keep us at the bottom. But that's for a reason. It's no coincidences. But, I'm not religious or anything, but you have to remember, the first shall be the last. Don't ever be afraid that you will lose or be destroyed. You will always be here. Well, you will be here last. Believe that. And that's why they had to beat that mindset into us, to make us doubt ourselves, to make us not fight back, to keep us in this subservient position. But at the end of the day, we are all we got. And until we learn that, then yes, they can keep targeting our children our family. But them targeting that should be enough for us to get on code. But I appreciate all of y'all, man. Right. This person said kids needs mother and father, and they understood that. Right. That's why you gotta understand your enemy is always 10 steps ahead. They bring in the drugs to your community to make money selling you the drugs in the first place, enough to fund a small war, and then lock up. They starve you economically first. Then they lock you up for selling the drugs and make billions of dollars locking you up. And the whole time they've accomplished their main goal was to eliminate the warrior class, to destroy the family structure, all of that. Because believe we was on code a lot more when there was no illusion of inclusion. And they knew that, they saw the movement. So they had to make sure that divide and conquer. We're going to make sure these black men and women aren't on the same page. We're going to have them arguing about Democrats and Republicans. Two versions of the same coin. And if anybody is still pushing Democrats onto you, you have to look at them suspect. Because, they told us that something was wrong with us. We were sellouts. We were this and that for not supporting Joe Biden. But now those same people are complaining that Joe Biden is telling people to stop reacting. But you know what? He's right. We got to stop reacting and we got to start responding. Right? We can go to those stores of anyone who is not black or that we don't want in our neighborhood and give them 24, 48 hours to leave the neighborhood. We taking over this store, right? And you don't even have to get gangster with it. You can say, well, we can't let nobody in the store. Nobody's supporting the store. Nobody's spending money, and they're going to have to leave. Or you can handle it the other way. But until you have that mindset, until you have the mindset of what are you willing to give up for freedom? Are you willing to give up everything? Are you willing to train your children to be prepared for anything? Because your enemy is ready to sacrifice their own. That's what it's going to take for you to be free. Liberty or death is not a game. It's real. But, I appreciate all of y'all for coming through, man. Yeah. And by the way, that's another thing with the voting. And I want y'all to realize how they still use this 3/5 compromise. Right? Understand. Right? They'll send prisoners from Florida to Ohio if Ohio is a Republican state, and they'll count the prisoners, even though the prisoners can't vote, but their electoral numbers will go up because they still use prisoners the same way as they did in 1865. Because it's no different. America does the same practices, and these people are loyal to the corporation of America, and they'll believe anything that America tells them. If they sell them the idea that they're better than the lowest black man, then they'll give their life, they'll empty their pockets for them. And they'll convince us to be voting Democrat for the next 200 years, and damn if it ain't 60, and damn if it's not the same. You got to understand your options is racism with a smile on your face, because before the 60s, they was just lynching you. So how do you like it? You like to be sucked dry with a smile on your face, or, just flat out in your face? But there's a third option. Is standing up for yourself, being free, getting rid of the illusion of inclusion, realizing that we are all we got and getting on the same page. But man, I appreciate all of y'all for watching. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Forecast Radio 24. That's where the videos y'all used to at. I can't really put them on this channel. YouTube hates on my channel all the time. They like to give me one strike at a time, so I always have like a warning so they can just ban me for a week or so. They probably won't ban me for good because they like to listen to what we say because they study their enemy. We just got to start studying our own. But man, I appreciate all of y'all, brother Bakari, Melanin, always. What's up, sis? Jermaine, Pasta, Soul Academy, Time to Work. My man Sling Nocturnal. I keep forgetting how to say my brother's name. Roberto, all of y'all, man. I appreciate all of y'all, man. Much love. I'm gonna try to come back Friday with another live video, and of course I'm gonna start working on the next video. Thank you, Soul Academy. I appreciate that, man. Y'all give me the strength and the courage to keep going, man. And like I said, man, Black unity is the Black Messiah, and they could never stop that. They can never stop that energy. They can never stop that warrior energy that is passed down, is in our genes, is in our blood. We just got to realize the power that we have and value ourselves and love yourself. And I'm not telling you nothing that George Washington didn't tell America, and they put his face on the mountain. Just look at who your enemy idolizes, who they put on mountains, who they put in their books. And these are the people you're trying to convince. So, just remember, you can't negotiate, you can't talk, you can't work it out with a psychopath. You just have to either submit to their will, which is abuse, or they'll continue to attack you until you stand up for yourself and punch the bully back in the face. But as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're going to keep falling for anything.